I'm Martin Anderson in Studio B now, and our live sessions here are brought to you by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, and I'm not alone. I got a big old crew here, including a video crew. You can see it live on our Facebook page, and Tyler Ramsey is the man of the hour. Hello.
That's right. How's it going?
Good, good. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for turning me on to another record, that David Lowery. I didn't know that existed. So there we go. Another score for WNCW.
Yay. All right. Yes. I forgot the record label. I don't have it in front of me. Probably an independent label.
Yeah.
And, might be a little under the radar.
My high school years were littered with Camper Van Beethoven and then Cracker.
And then Cracker. Yeah. So you're into both?
Yeah. I got to see him at the Grey Eagle not too long ago. I mean, it probably was a long time ago. Time's weird, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he just came back to the Grey Eagle, so...
he did?
Yeah.
Cool, I missed it.
You missed a little session in Studio B. He was sitting right where you are now.
No way.
It's true. We've had some good acts in here. Like Tyler Ramsey, he's been here before.
Oh, yeah, he's been here many times.
You came down from Candler. Hope the ride was good.
It was pretty good.
All right.
As good as it can be on that... in that construction zone.
Oh, yeah, that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well.
You probably heard about that.
I'm a little familiar with it myself. Yeah. But you know what? The traffic's going to be great for you on the way home. And also on Friday and Saturday when you play downtown at the Dinah Wortham Theater.
That's right.
With some others. What an interesting little project this is with the Asheville Contemporary Dance Theater.
Yes.
An act that I never pictured you working with, but yet here it's happening.
Actually, you know what? I worked with them when I was in my early 20s. I traveled to Europe with them a couple times in France, and we did some shows. I played music for a couple of wild dance shows over there in Montpellier and a couple other places. And so I've known them for a really long time. And then over the years kind of lost touch a little bit. And then my daughter started taking dance at their studio, which their studio has been in town since, I believe, the late 70s.
Okay.
Susan Collard and Giles. Susan started that studio a long time ago, and they've taught generations and generations of kids just, dance, modern dance, ballet. Giles teaches like fencing and things like that.
Wow.
So they're just a powerful part of our community there. So when I started to see them again, and when I was dropping my daughter off, we came up with the idea of collaborating on a show.
All right, and the show is this Friday and Saturday. It's called Shiver in the Pines.
Shiver in the Pines.
And I don't know, a brief description of just what it's going to be.
Brief description. I'm going to read it because it's really kind of. I'll just say. So it's a multimedia modern ballet at the Wortham Center, and it's based on these stories that were written, inspired by the pulp fantasy stories of Silver John the Balladeer, which was written by Manly Wade Wellman. I brought the books. I'll show them to you in a second.
Cool.
It's good to bring visual props to radio. So it says John the Balladeer with his silver-strung guitar wanders through the southern Appalachian Mountains, collecting and researching the origins of mountain folk songs, encountering and sometimes seeking out all manner of supernatural beings. So it's just like these little short story adventures, kind of pulp fantasy stories that I just randomly came across this book.
Huh.
I can't even remember where I found it. It might have been at Downtown Books and News in Asheville, and just found it on the shelf, and kind of thought it was really interesting and maybe a possible springboard for some musical ideas, So, flash forward, bump into Giles on the street, and we talk about doing a show, and I suggested this as the potential material to base a show on, and there we go.
All right.
Yeah.
So we get to hear some of the acoustic guitar-based music that is a part of this contemporary dance troupe based on these books.
Yeah. I'll play. This actually was on. This piece was on my album For the Morning, and when we started the rehearsals, I used it as kind of a placeholder for some choreography that Susan was working on, and Susan just loved it, so we kept it in the show. Sure. So this one is called Darkest Clouds, and It's part of the show. Now the show is not it's electric guitar for the show.
Okay.
A lot of, the whole thing. So it's a little different than what you'll hear today. But
All right.
yeah.
That is Darkest Clouds from Tyler Ramsey. Fans of WNCW and Tyler Ramsey, you might recognize that tune, but now it's got a new purpose as part of this soundtrack to Shiver in the Pines with the Asheville Contemporary Dance Theater. It's happening Friday and Saturday, Dinah Wortham Theater. You've taken part, I think, in a lot of probably dress rehearsals and such, and a lot of collaborations. Maybe not dress rehearsals.
Oh yeah, no, I have. I've been involved in a decent amount, but this is kind of a special thing. It's a big project. It's I've been trying as I get older, trying to do things that are challenging and maybe out of my comfort zone.
Yes,
a lot more in the past year, especially just taking on things that my first instinct would be to say no to. So
yeah.
This has been a fantastic experience, and it's been a lot of work. We put a lot of time into it, leading up to the original show dates, which were supposed to be back in October.
Mm-hmm.
So of course we had to postpone, like a lot of people did, after the hurricane, and so then we just kind of like put it away for a second. I had to go out and do a bunch of touring. I got to go out and do a bunch of touring on my last album, New Lost Ages, and then we just dove back in again, and have been rehearsing, and I think the show's better for the amount of time that we got to add in. So
I was wondering if
it really feels like it's really like gotten solidified in a really cool way. So
were there any major changes that happened after the Helene hiatus?
Yeah, I mean, I think really like the choreography got more dialed in. The music, I've had more time to work and come up with ideas, and some of it's improvised a little bit, in a framework. So I'm more, I have more of a focus on what I'm going to be doing at any given moment during the show, and so I think it's been an odd sort of blessing to have more time to work on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you gave a little description of what this performance is based on. The tales of John the Balladeer from this fictional writer, Manly Wade Wellman, and sounds like a song collector of sorts here in Appalachia.
Yeah, that's the basis of the whole story.
So is it based on like Cecil Sharp, like the actual song collector here in Appalachia, or?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't made that connection. I'm not actually aware of Cecil Sharp. Which I probably should be. But.
Just a neat folk song collector, balladeer. There's some neat little historical markers about his work coming through here in the, I guess, when was it? It's the late 19th century, I think so.
Oh, wow.
Collecting songs. There's one in Black Mountain I remember seeing first.
Okay.
The movie Songcatcher, kind of based on some of these folks, not just Cecil Sharp, but others who collected songs and was the first to transcribe these old Appalachian folk songs. And,
I think about like Bascom Lamar Lunsford and just, And in a way, me, when I first started out, when I first moved to this area, there was still something in the air. There was still like, it seemed like you could still find people that knew. I was really, really deep into like country blues, fingerstyle guitar, and there just was something still floating around. Like Doc was still around, and there were people you could go find and like sit down with. I know there's still people out there that are doing it, and that probably haven't been heard on a larger scale, but like I got to go sit at Etta Baker's in her living room with her. We just showed up at her doorstep and knocked on the door and sat down, and I played guitar with her for like an hour in her living room, and things like that just really like fed my passion for guitar and for just this area, and just that feeling that there was a lot to be discovered around here.
Yes. So, and when you think about going to like sit at the feet of Doc Watson or Etta Baker, like when you think of Piedmont Blues, you think Etta Baker. So these are the folks that like had these songs, and you're learning from the source. But these musicians, these legends, Doc, Etta, they were as well just learning from the folks that came before them. They weren't just inventing these songs that we hear. Exactly. Some of them they did, but a lot of they were learning from the song collectors themselves, and they were just passing it on like the other ones.
Yeah. I remember also like Roy Bookbinder used to come around, and the people that learned directly from like Reverend Gary Davis. There were still like that generation. They're still around, a lot of them, but it was always very exciting to me, and it still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this book that is now, there's a modern dance component to it, and you're cycling your songs into it. There's this character Silver John. Is he so he's like a song collector in Appalachia?
Yeah, I mean he's just kind of like in the stories he's just kind of like walking around. I believe that his main goal is to just learn music. Yeah. So he'll be walking through the mountains and come across some little settlement somewhere, some little village or town, and then get into some, interesting situations with these creatures that are, these mythological creatures that live up in the mountains, things that are like old stories that have been passed along, over the years. So he comes across these situations and has to figure out how to help, or, so it's a pretty wild book. I thought it was kind of funny in a way too, but it's also just interesting. And we kind of took it and made it a little more abstract with the dance, and just kind of opened it up to like a really deeper, like artistic interpretation of it. So.
I imagine there's a good bit of creative liberty, some abstract interpretation involved when you bring in a modern dance troupe into these stories from a pulp fantasy author based on Appalachia.
Yeah.